conversation with a learned person, I think that's good.
This week parasha is Parashat Mishpatim. And the thing that I want to, I think we should learn about is what was the process of receiving the Torah. So Parashat Yitro that we read last week described the revelation at Sinai, the Ten Commandments. And if you go to the verses over there, the description was that before Hashem gave us the Torah, before the Ten Commandments, Hashem sent Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem sent Moshe to ask the nation, to the opinion of the nation, you want to be my nation, you want to accept my covenant. When Moshe came to down and offered the Torah before the Ten Commandments, the nation says, I'll show you the verse later, yes, Kol asher diber Hashem naaseh. Everything that Hashem says, we're going to do. In this week parasha, in Parashat Mishpatim, there is another description of what happened after the Ten Commandments was given. And over there, again, Moshe Rabbeinu write down the things that are here in this week parasha, in the beginning, Parashat Mishpatim, all those laws, including the Ten Commandments. And he read it in front of the nation, and he asked them again, and they said, Kol asher diber Hashem naaseh VeNishma. So they add to the will do, and we will hear. Naaseh VeNishma. So that mentioned in this week parasha, and therefore that will be the topic that we're going to discuss, the idea of Naaseh VeNishma. What's Naaseh VeNishma? If you will analyze this, it seems wrong. God created us intelligent creatures. So, when anyone offers you something, some deal in business, and he offers you the deal, what do you think about the deal? The first thing that you say, okay, let me see what's the deal. What are you offering? And then, let me think about it. I want it or not want it. That was not the case. When God offered the Torah, we said, we're going to do it. On blind. We didn't even know what he wants to say. We said, Kol asher diber Hashem naaseh. That was last week. In this week, it's mentioned, Kol asher diber Hashem, everything that Hashem said, we'll do, and we will listen. The order should be the opposite. Let's listen, see if it's good, it's fit us, then we'll decide if we want it or not. But the order was, we're going to do it anyways. We're going to do it. Now, let's hear what you have to offer us. So this concept of Naaseh VeNishma is a concept that we have to understand, because, again, every human being should be using the gift that God gave him, which is the mind. And the right responsible way, apparently, is someone offering you something, first hear the details. See if you could do it, you could not do it, it's good for you or not good. Then you have to use your criticism before you made the deal. To make a deal on blind, it seems irresponsible. And that's what the Torah says about the Jews. That's what they did. And not few of them. It says, Vayanu kol ha'am yachdav. Everyone. Was no one who think different. Everyone agree on the spot to accept it the way it is. And now tell us, what do you want? Naaseh VeNishma. More than that, the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat says that when the Jews respond to the offer of God through Moshe Rabbeinu, will you accept the Torah? Naaseh VeNishma. God was impressed. That's what the Gemara says. Let me show you the Gemara. The Gemara is in Masechet Shabbat b'daf Pechet. The Gemara says the following. Amar Rabbi Elazar, בשעה שהקדימו ישראל נעשה לנשמה, because they said, first we'll do, before they hear, יצאה בת קול ואמרה להם, מי גילה לבני רז זה? God himself was so impressed. Bat kol, it's like echo when you in between two mountains and you made a noise, it goes to the wall and come back to you, right? The echo called bat kol in Hebrew. Kol is the sound. Bat kol is the daughter of the sound. Meaning the sound itself, but the feedback, the echo that comes. So God says, Mi gila raz ze levanai. What apparently it's so to say, God was impressed. And what did he say? Who revealed this secret to my sons? So we have to understand what's the big secret over here. God says it's a secret, Raz. But the Gemara continues, why it's such a secret? מי גילה רז זה לבני, שמלאכי השרת משתמשים בו. So God was impressed because this is not a human response. This, an angel response. Not human. And here we're talking about human beings and they respond like angels. Who told them this secret? So what is the big secret? That's the question. What is the big secret? Why angels do that and not humans? And why the Jews did this? They are not angels, they are humans. So where we find out that the angels do that, there is a verse in Tehillim. Tehillim, Perek Kuf Gimel. Perek Kuf Gimel, chapter 103. At the end of the chapter, it says the following. Baruchu Hashem malachav. Bless or praise Hashem, His angels. Giborei koach oseh dvaro. They are powerful and they do His will or His words. Lishmoa bekol dvaro. So see the orders. Oseh dvaro, they do. Oseh, לעשות is to do. Lishmoa bekol dvaro. So this is naaseh VeNishma. First they do, then they listen. Who? The angels. That's what the Gemara says. Mi gila raz ze levanai. Who revealed this secret to my sons that the angel are working this way, not human beings. So let's explain this. It's very deep. I'll try to do it in brief. Usually we're proud to think. We're proud and we think this is the responsible way. It seems from here that it's not. You do not have to criticize when God offers you a deal. When you know for sure that this is God who give you the deal, who offer you the deal, you should say on the spot, I'm going for it. Now tell me what's the deal. The Gemara there in Masechet Shabbat Daf Peichet bring a story. The story over there in the same Gemara. How tzdoki dechazia lerava, de'ava kame'ayin b'shmata. At the time of the Talmud, about 1500 years ago, one of the big scholars in the Talmud, his name was Rava, very famous. So he loved learning Torah, and he learned Torah in a way that when he learned something, all of him was in it. He was not aware of anything around. He was so deep in it. So the Gemara described that once he was learning something in the Torah, and he was so busy with it, his finger was under his foot. And he didn't pay attention that there is a blood that stopped run in his finger because he was so busy. He didn't even feel it. It came to the point that the blood started to come out. So the blood came out of him. And he was so concentrated, he didn't pay attention to this. Saw him, Tzdoki. Tzdoki is a Jew who are not accepting the Torah Shebe'al Peh and his way of how to look at Judaism. So he looked at him and he said, "You're so fanatic. You look at the word. Amar le'ama pziza dekadmitu pumaychu leudnaichu." Let me translate it from Aramaic. He is Jewish, but he speaks about the Jews like you, the Jews. Kilu from outside. You, the Jews. You're so irresponsible. When God offered you the Torah, you said first, let's do, and then we'll listen. That's not the way it should be. And now you continue this path. See, you're irresponsible. You're learning, great, but take care of your body. You're wounded. You're not even aware of this. This is the same path of irresponsibility. That's how this guy criticized them. You're still managing in the same irresponsible way. when we read this story, many of us will agree with this guy. You have to think before you have to take care of your body. What do you mean you learn when you're not even aware that you're wounded? Right? It seems right. Rava obviously represent the other side. And actually, this Tzedeki said that what Rava doing now here, the entire nation did when God gave them the Torah. They didn't even think to ask what is it before they accept it. Irresponsible. God says, as we said before, wow, this is a secret. Only angels behave this way. You are not angel, you're human beings. So I'm really impressed that you know this secret and you did the right thing. When you said, yes, we'll do, then we'll listen. Now listen to this. This is very deep. I will try to put it in a way that we could relate to. Let's go to the Torah. At the end of the Torah, the last parasha in the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu, at Sefer Dvarim, Parashat וזאת הברכה, the last parasha in the Torah, at the day Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, he gathered the nation and he gave them blessing. וזאת הברכה אשר ברך Moshe. He blessed the nation. And he went for each tribe and gave him his blessing. But before that, when he started it, started it in a very interesting way. Let's go there. Parashat וזאת הברכה. Just a minute. Here. Parashat וזאת הברכה in Sefer Dvarim, the last chapter, chapter 33. וזאת הברכה אשר ברך משה איש האלוהים את בני ישראל לפני מותו. Those are the words that Moshe Rabbeinu says to Bnei Israel, to the nation before he passed away. ויאמר, and this is the pasuk. ויאמר, Hashem מסיני בא. God came and gave us the Torah in Sinai. Hashem מסיני בא, but he mentioned over here things that seems need explanation. Hashem מסיני בא, וזרח משעיר למו. הופיע מהר פרן, ועתה מרבבות קודש, בימינו אש דת למו. So first, let's explain the words. Let's go to Rashi. Rashi will bring us the understanding of what's going on over here. ויאמר, Hashem מסיני בא, says Rashi. Hashem came from Sinai and gave us the Torah. This is obvious. What's וזרח משעיר למו? Says Rashi. וזרח משעיר למו, שפתח לבני שעיר שיקבלו את התורה ולא רצו. Before Hashem offered the Torah to us, he went to the nations of the world and offered them the Torah. And from all the nations of the world, which is 70 nations, the words in the Pasuk in the Torah mention two nations. Seir, which is Esav, which is Edom, and Yishmael. Yishmael was dwelling in Har Paran. Paran is Yishmael. And in our generations, according to the Kabbalah, through the explanation of the Vilna Gaon, he just summarized the thing that mentioned also in more old sources, like the Zohar and the Midrashim. He said that the 17 nations of the world divided to two groups, 35 and 35. The ideological leader of one group is Esav, which is Edom, which is Christianity. And the other 35, the leader of them is Yishmael, which is Islam. So the 17 nations of the world divided to two major groups. Christians who follow Esav and Muslims who follow Yishmael. Now, when Hashem offered the Torah, the Medrash says he offered it to all the nations of the world. But this pasuk mentioned two of them. And look what Rashi says. וזרח משעיר למו שפתח לבני שעיר שיקבלו את התורה ולא רצו. Which is בני שעיר? שעיר זה אדום. Let's see. In the pasuk it says, on Edom, וישב עשיו בהר שעיר. Esav hu Edom. So Esav is Edom, and this is the meaning of Hofia. This is the meaning in the pasuk that says over here, "V'zarach miseir lamo." In the beginning he went to Seir, to the Edomites, which is Esav. Then הופיע מהר פרן, הופיע להם מהר פרן, שהלך שם ופתח לבני ישמעאל, שיקבלוה ולא רצו. Ishmael, when Avram sent him with his mother, when Sarah says, גרש את האמה הזאת ואת בנה, it says that where he sent him to, let's see, וישב במדבר פרן, ותיקח לו אמו אישה מארץ מצרים. So he went to Paran. So Paran is Ishmael, is the Ishmaelites, is the Muslims, and Seir is Edom, Esav, Christianity. Now says Rashi, of course, quoting the Midrash, that Hashem offered the Torah before he offered the Torah to us. He offered it to the nations of the world. The nations of the world ask God, you offer us the Torah. What is the Torah? What is the Torah? And when he told them the 10 commandments, and he got to Lo Tirtzach, don't kill, one of the 10 commandments, the Edomites, meaning those 35 nations that follow Esav, said, we could not accept it. Because we live on our sword. As Yitzchak said to Yaakov, to Esav, Ve'al char becha tichyeh. You live on your sword. So we will not be able to accept the rule of don't kill, lo tirtzach. Therefore, it's not for us. But if you really need to give the Torah to someone, says the Edomites, go to Bnei Israel, they will accept it. That's what the Midrash says. Rashi brings on the part of the Midrash. So he went to the Bnei Ishmael, and he asked them, you want the Torah? You want to accept the Torah? What's in the Torah, they asked. So he read them the 10 commandments. He got to Lot Inaf. Lot Inaf, they said, no, it's not for us. We could not, Arayot is our thing. We could not accept the rule of don't be with the wife of your friend. It's not for us. Go to the Jews, they will accept it. And it says that after he offered them, he came. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu says at the last day of his life. You know, the masterpiece of his mission in life of Moshe Rabbeinu is to be the messenger to give the Torah. So the last day of his life, he mentioned that with the blessing that he said before he passed away. And he mentioned Ma'amad Har Sinai, and he says the following, Vayomer Hashem miSinai ba v'zarach miSeir lamo. How was the process of the Kabbalat Torah? First he went to Seir, then he went to Paran, and then Ve'ata merivot kodesh miyamino eshdat lamo. Says the Vilna Gaon, and this is the deep thing over here. The Vilna Gaon says the following. It's in Aderet Eliyahu over there, in Parashat וזאת הברכה. השם מסיני בא, שזכו מחמת עצמן בשביל שאמרו נעשה ונשמע. This is the secret behind those two words, נעשה ונשמע. How? Let me give you some background in order to understand the words of the genius from Vilna. It's not easy to understand geniuses, right? So, let's go back to Esav and Ishmael. The Torah describes when Esav was born, it says, in Parashat Toldot, ויצא הראשון אדמוני כולו כעדרת שיער ויקראו את שמו Esav. They named him Esav. What is the meaning of the word Esav? For many people who do not understand Hebrew, it doesn't seem connected at all. Even for Hebrew speakers, they do not understand what's the connection between the name Esav to the fact that when he was born, he was hairy. The connection is very simple. Usually, babies born without hair. Usually. I'm not talking about the head, the entire body. When Esav was born, he was hairy from the toe to the head. Kulo ka'aderet she'ar. This is unusual. Unusual. Even men who are going to be hairy later on, it will be when it will be teenager and up, right? They do not born like this. Esav was born like this, and therefore, because he was kulo ka'aderet she'ar, therefore they called him Esav. What is the meaning of the word Esav? Done. He's done. He's a baby, but he's done. So Esav, the meaning of the word Esav is done. We see later on that that was part of his character. When he grew up, it says, ויגדלו הנערים ויהי עשיו איש יודע ציד איש שדה. Meaning, his talent was, he is a doer. He is done, he is doing, he is done. His power is with his hands. הידיים ידי עשיו. The hands are our limbs that connect us to the world around us, technically, physically. Therefore, the power of do is the power of Esav. Yishmael, the power of Ishmael was to listen. This is the meaning of the word Yishmael, that God will hear. So, hearing. The Midrash says the following. Says the Midrash, there are many kind of names for people in the world. So, the Midrash says, yeah, there are people that have beautiful names, but their action are just against of their name. And there are people that they have beautiful name and beautiful actions. And there are people that have not too beautiful names and beautiful actions, or not too beautiful names and ugly actions also. So the Midrash bring all of this. This is Midrash Rabbi, but the Midrash says the following: Yesh sheshmotehem na'im u'ma'asehem ke'urim. They have beautiful names, but their actions, what they choose to do in life, just opposite of their name. And the Midrash bring the examples. Esav, Shmo Esav. Esav is a beautiful name. He is a doer. We are here in the world to do. But Esav has this power of being a doer, but he do the wrong things. He's not doing what's right. So his name is good, but his action not that good. Yishmael is the same thing. It's a beautiful name. Yishmael, Hashem is listening, right? So it's koach hashmiyah, it's a power of hearing. But he is not hearing. He's not doing what's right. He's not accepting what's right. So after we understand this, we could understand the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon says, when Hashem offered the Torah, he offered it to the nations of the world. And in a way, every person and every nation in the world has free will, and they could use it good or not good. When he offered the Torah to the nations of the world, they could do it, but they choose not to do it. Esav said, no, not for me. Lo tirtzach, I could not kill. I could not take this as the set of my values. When they came to Ishmael, he could hear, but he chose not to hear. So when God offered them the Torah, say it's not for us, but go to the Jews, they will accept it. And you know what? We will contribute something to this. And they gave them gifts. What was the gifts? The positive part of the power of doing and the positive part of the power of listening that they choose not to do, but they give it to the Jews. And this is the secret behind the Naaseh VeNishma. The Naaseh we took as a gift from Esav. He is doing, but he chose not to do, so we took it. So the Naaseh, when the Jews say Naaseh, they took it from Esav. When they say VeNishma, they took it from Yishmael. That's what the Vilna Gaon said. What is the secret? Why it's so amazing? We have to understand what angels are. Because Hashem said, this secret, it's a secret. Meaning, what is secret? Secret is something that exists, but no one knows about it. It's hidden from people. But it exists, but it's secret. We do not see angels in our eyes, in our senses. We do not see angels. Angels are spiritual entities. The meaning of the word angel is a messenger. When God running the world, he has messengers that do in charge of this or this, or those called angels. We do not see them. What are angels? Angels are entities, creatures, that was created in order to execute the God will. To execute it, to make it, actualize it, okay? Because of that, they were created. They created in order to actualize the will of God. Therefore, they are not free willers. They have to do whatever God put on them to do. They could not say, you know what, we're lazy, we're tired. They do it because because of that they were created. Therefore, an angel by its nature, not asking any questions. When God said do something, he's doing it immediately. עושה דברו. גיבורי כוח עושה דברו. They have to hear what their mission is, but they hear the mission not in order to consider it, if it's fit them or not fit them. First of all, the first reaction, we're going to do it. Now what do we have to do? That's an angel attitude, because they're not free willers. Human beings are free willers. So when God or anyone give them any offer, the right way to do is think about it, consider it, weigh it, decide, and then that's the way we should all behave. Only once in the history it was not a necessity. When God offered us the Torah. Why? Jews in their characters are thinkers, are responsible. Take Jew today, if you're in business. If you do business with non-Jews, you could sell your merchandise much easier than with a Jew. Because the Jew will ask you a million questions before they will sign. Right? It's in our nature. We're thinking, we're considering. Once in the history, when Hashem offered us the Torah, we didn't use this criticism. Not because at the time we were primitive and not thinkers. Because it was not needed. Be aware of the fact that Ma'amad Har Sinai, the revelation at Sinai, when God gave us the Ten Commandments, He gave the Torah to people that 50 days exactly before that was in Egypt and saw all the firstborn dying, and then Paro, the stubborn Paro, let them go. A year before, the Mishnah said that the 10 plagues in Egypt was stretched on 12 months. So they saw the blood, the frog, they saw the makot, they saw it in their eyes. 50 days after Makat Bechorot, the 10th Makkah, they stand in Ma'amad Har Sinai. But 43 days before, 7 days after Makat Bechorot, they, the same group of people, cross Yam Suf in dry land, the entire nation. And when the Egyptian row was running after them, the water came and covered them, and they drowned to the last one of them. V'lo nishar be'em ad echad. They saw it in their eyes. Anyone who experienced firsthand this do not need any, he has no need to prove that there is God. Without God, the creator of the universe, the one who made the laws of nature, those miracles could not happen. So they saw it in their eyes. When you convince 100% that Moshe is a messenger of God, and that God is talking to you and give you the Torah, you could consider it. Let me think about it. He's the master of the universe. So they didn't do it because they were naive, because they didn't operate their ability to criticize. They did it because they were sure. At the time, they were exactly in the level of the angels. The angels have no doubts. The Jews at the time has no doubts. Therefore, they said, Naaseh, for sure we're going to do it. But now, let's hear what we have to do. But we want to hear not in order to consider if it's good for us. We know it's good for us. But let me know what I have to do. So the Naaseh VeNishma is completely have different lights according to this. It's not come from naive point of view. It's come from sure seeing the truth in a vivid way, in the clearest way ever. Therefore, there is no other way to respond to it, but of course we do it. Naaseh VeNishma. So that was the secret. So we have to know practically to today. You know, today we are 3,300 years after the events. So people could say, you know what, if we were there, we saw everything, maybe we were on this level. But so much time passed, time changed. So when we learn the Torah every year, when we got to this parasha, Parashat Yitro, Parashat Mishpatim, we have to know, and every Shavuot, Chag HaShavuot, when we celebrate the Kabbalat Torah, we have to re-accepting the Torah in every generation. Same way with Pesach. In the Haggadah של Pesach we said, בכל דור ודור חייב אדם לראות עצמו כאילו הוא עכשיו יצא ממצרים. In every generation, everyone who celebrates Pesach should see himself that right now he went out of Egypt. Same way when Shavuot approach, 50 years after Leil Seder, 50 days after Leil Seder, in Chag HaShavuot, what are we doing? We're learning Torah the entire night and we're accepting the Torah. We're re-accepting the Torah. Question is, how could we re-accept the Torah now, today, 3,300 years after it's happened, in the same level? Let me see those miracles that my forefathers saw, then I will be in the same level. So the thing is very simple. And again, understanding this is understanding what Judaism is all about. Why every detail is so important. We know, anyone who learns and really honest and look for the truth. When we learn our Torah and our tradition, you could today, be sure 100%, same way your forefathers 3,300 years ago experienced the entire miracles of the 10 plagues and the split of the sea and the man that come from the Shemayim. You could be sure 100% the same way they did today. How? The entire Judaism is around those miracles. You know how many mitzvot that we do are Zecher L'Yetziat Mitzrayim, to the memory of Yetziat Mitzrayim? I think I said that here before, but I'll repeat this. Take Shabbat. Shabbat. Jews doing this 3,300 years straight. Let me describe to you. I know you know, but I will describe to you anyways. What is Shabbat? What actually are we doing in Shabbat? Every Friday night, Jewish families got together to a festive meal. Together. Sometimes even married children comes with their children to their parents, and they do big meal, good meal, festive meal, good food, dressed like they're going to a wedding every week, Friday night. Before everyone go to wash in order to eat, we're doing certain ceremony. I hate to call it ceremony, but I use the language. We're doing Kiddush. What are we doing? So let me describe to you. The oldest person in the family take a cup of wine and recite for you before they going to start actually the meal. We do the Kiddush. What we sang in the Kiddush? So usually the old person in the family, could be the grandfather or one of the old uncles, depends. Okay, he take a cup of wine and he said few things. You know what we're doing now? We accepting the holy day of Shabbat. Why are we doing this? And what is Shabbat? Shabbat is 6 days, you work, business. Shabbat, no business. Lo ta'aseh kol melacha. This is a holy day. Why are we doing this? And he said these words. You know why we're doing this? Zecher L'Yetziat Mitzrayim. We're doing this because of the memory of Yetziat Mitzrayim. So imagine what I described now happen in almost every Jew who still wants to be Jewish, that do Kiddush every Shabbat. It doesn't matter what level of frumkeit, of committing to mitzvot, but many Jews do Kiddush Leil Shabbat, Friday night. So imagine the situation. Imagine a family, big family, let's say 5 kids, with their children. It will be a bunch of, let's say, 25 people in the meal. Very possible. The old person, let's say the grandfather, do the kiddush. One of those guys, the 25 guys, is a smart 5-year-old Jewish boy. Now, let's assume that he heard what his grandfather says on the cup of wine, and he understood that the words that we're doing this in the memory when God take us out of Mitzrayim. So after the kiddush finished, everyone take the wine, drink the wine, they going to wash. They're standing on the line to wash. The grandfather standing, right behind him, this 5 years old, his grandson. Very smart kid. So the kid turned to his grandpa and said, "Can I ask you a question?" The grandpa said, "Of course, anything that you have in mind. What's your question?" So the kid asked the following. You just recite that we're doing this kiddush on this day and we did it every week, we're doing it every week because God took us out of Egypt. Tell me, Grandpa, you were there in Egypt? The grandfather will look at the kid and say, "Listen, I'm old, but I'm not that old. You know when it happened 3,300 years ago." So the kid will say, "Aha, so you were not there. So how do you know it's really happened?" The grandfather was smiling from ear to ear. And he turned to the kid and he told him, "I'm so glad that you asked this question. It's a good question. You know, when I was your age, I asked the same question my grandfather. And you know what he answered me? That when he was 5 years old, he asked his grandfather. When it started, it goes from grandchild to the grandparents, okay? Go back. Until when? 3,300 years. It will go back to the people who went out of Egypt. You know what's going on? We're giving a testimony from a father to a child and grandchild, sometimes 3 or 4 generations, every Friday night. Imagine a court who wants to verify a historical event. And they have this kind of testimony that going from generation to generation to generation, not once in a lifetime, not once a year, aside from Pesach every year, every Shabbat, every week, we're passing this testimony. And not just one family, all the families of all the Jewish people all over the world under all conditions. In the Holocaust, in the Inquisition, when we have good time, when we have bad time, Shabbat is Shabbat, and we're doing Kiddush under any situation. And we're passing the message every week. Now let me ask you a question. If it's never happened, how it started? Who was this unbelievable guy who has the power to convince a bunch of Jews that historical event with all the miracles that described in the Torah never happened? And he convinced them that it's happened, and since then they started to do it. It's impossible. So we have testimony about Yetziat Mitzrayim, about Pesach, about Makat Bechorot. Every Pesach we're doing it. Every Shabbos, every Shabbat, we passing the testimony. So even today we have no problem. And the fact that it happened 3,300 years ago, it's not a problem of who said that it was. Because if it was not, you should explain how it became a tradition in the Jewish nation. And don't ask me about Christians and Muslims, because they have also a book, they have also a story, right? They also celebrate their holidays, Easter and whatever. Why? It's not a question. Because we know as Jews that for sure all the stories of Christians and Muslims are false. We know it. We know it, it's false. That's why we didn't accept Jesus ever. But you could ask, but they have a book, the New Testament, they have holidays, so they have the whole tradition. And you just said that if it's never happened, how someone invented it. Good question. What's the answer? Very simple. What their story? What are they telling? What they're saying? How Christianity become a religion, a big religion, big influence religion with a lot of people. What's their story? What they saying? Learn the history. How the people in Europe become Christians. 2,000 years ago, they were all pagans. In very short time, they become Christians. Why? Because of the Caesar in Rome, Constantine. He just forced everyone to be Christian. What actually he told them? Listen, there is a story. That's what he told them. He never met Jesus. Paul came from the land of Israel to Europe to spread the story of Christianity, right? So he told them a story, and they believed him. And the one who believed willingly, good. The one who didn't, Constantine, the Caesar of Rome, forced them to believe. So even those who believe willingly, no one has to force them, right? What actually they saying? Some man came from the Middle East, tell the story, and our parents accept it. Okay. And since then, there is a tradition about this particular story. Could you compare it to our story? That the Jews ever said, Moses came and told us and we believed him? The first generation saw God. They were, the nation itself was in Sinai. The entire nation was in Egypt when the 10 plagues occurred. The entire nation went through the split water of the Dead Sea, of the Yam Suf, the Dead Sea, in a dry land. They experienced it themselves for 40 years, not one day, not 2 days, not a week, 40 years. They got heavenly food miraculously from heaven. No one came told them story. They experienced the things, and they passed it to us from generation to generation with non-broken chain. You cannot compare it to the Muslims or to the Christians. What happened with the Muslims? The same story. Came this guy, Muhammad, and said, I met the angel Gabriel. Where was it? Over there, behind the mountain, in the darkness of the cave. No one saw it. Now believe me. If you believe, fine. If not, I'm going to cut off your head. Not the way the Muslims said the Islam started. Was no more witnesses than Muhammad himself. And they believed him. So either willingly or not willingly, it doesn't matter. But that's not our story. We do not believe anyone. We Jewish. Jews do not believe. If you not prove it, forget about it. Go tell stories to a bunch of dummies. Don't tell me stories. And the entire story started with the entire nation. And those nation was tough nation even then. We were stubborn. Look at the Torah, how many problems we caused Moshe Rabbeinu in the desert. Complain here, complain there, not this, not this. But no one complained or asked or put a question mark about the revelation of Sinai. Because everyone saw it. So if you just learn it deeply, you could be sure 100% today, 3,300 years after, that the event happened. Because if it didn't happen, how it passed in testimony from generation to generation. As I say, even Shabbat, once a week. The oldest person in each Jewish family passed the message to their children and their grandchildren. Therefore, today we should say Naaseh VeNishma, because we know, we do not believe blind faith. We know that there is God. We know that He gave the Torah. Therefore, I have no problem to say today Naaseh VeNishma. Because you cannot argue with this. This is the truth. And we have to do it. That's the Naaseh VeNishma. Okay, there is much more, but we started late, so we'll conclude here. Naaseh VeNishma.